All animals have something to say. So it's like a radio. I have to kind of fine tune it to get what they're saying. And sometimes there's a little bit of a lapse. And I go, okay, just give me a minute. And then I get it. And then I translate it to them like a channel. The animals are communicating to us more than they ever have in the past because people are more open to it than they ever used to be.
Hello, everybody. I'm Lindsay, and I'm here with Kim Malonie with Light Technology Publishing and the Sedona Journal of Emergence. I'm so happy that you could join us today, Kim. Thank you.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, Lindsay.
Yeah, it's really great to have you. I feel a huge connection with you. So, Kim, you are a fourth generation psychic medium, clairvoyant, and an animal communicator. So, I really would love to talk to you about your animal communication today, especially because you help a lot of people. So, I would love to get into your work a little bit more. How would you introduce yourself and your work these days?
Okay. First of all, I'm feeling very crowded right about here. Got a lot of spirits around me. I just have to get some space here. Okay. Well, I'm a natural born animal communicator. I was born like this for over 30 years. I won't say my age, but over 30 years, like helping all animals with physical, behavioral, and emotional issues. And basically, a little bit of my background. I have an honors diploma in animal sciences, certificates in nutrition, combination homeopathy with Dr. Asa Hersoff, and certificates in applied kinesiology. I'm a certified reflexologist, and I'm a registered healer. I've been working with endangered animal sanctuaries, anything from tigers, elephants, petting zoos, shelters, humane societies, rescues. And I do long distance. Most of my work is long distance consultations, actually, worldwide with all animals. And I've appeared on various talk show, television. I've done many radio interviews, and I've hosted radio shows of my own for people calling in and asking about their pet or their animal. And I pick up on what they're asking, and I answer their questions about what their pet's saying. I've been in various magazines and featured in many magazines, and I'm also a published author. I'm also a published author, and I've done lecture engagements for St. John's Animals Therapy Dogs. Yeah. And I've done seminars on changing lives for non-traditional career, which I'm not traditional, conferences for the Northumberland Clarington Board of Education. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
That's gorgeous. I mean, there's so much experience that you have. And one of the main things that I read on your website as well, and through the Sedona Journal articles, is that you give pets a voice. So how is it that you give pets a voice, and how does that relate to helping them and humanity?
Basically, what I do is when I say I give pets a voice, usually, always, not usually, always, all animals have something to say. And when I'm giving them a voice, people will ask me different questions about them, like how is their health? They'll ask me different questions. Why are they depressed? Why are they sad? Why are they actually peeing on my bed? That kind of thing. And I hear them. I hear them. I feel them. So I'm clairaudient, clairsentient, basically everything. So when I hear them, I'm like a translator, and I translate what they say to the people. So basically, if they could be talking themselves, they would be listening to them, like through me.
Wow.
So a person would be saying, I don't understand why just very, very typical, why is my my cat, urinating on my bed. And the cat would be saying the exact reason and why and what we can do about it. So I take a couple of seconds to filter them because sometimes they have a very sense of humor and sometimes they're like people. They they come out and say different things. So I gotta kind of tweak them a little bit before it comes out. So yeah, I just kind of like I'm like the translator between them and their personalities that come through is like some of them might be like Humphrey Bogart, the way they talk
Wow.
and that kind of thing, right? And some of them are like movie stars, the way they talk and they hold themselves, and they're very um, they're like performers. Some of them, yeah. So it's really neat. It really is. So that's how I give them a voice.
Wow. So they actually speak through you, and then you have to translate that, and that's how you work with your clients, right?
Yes, I say translate because sometimes if they're passed over, they're in higher vibrational realms, and sometimes they don't use words. They use like music and music and lyrical. So it's like a radio. I have to kind of fine tune it to get what they're saying. And sometimes there's a little bit of a lapse. And I go, okay, just give me a minute. And then I get it. And then I translate it to them like a channel. It's sometimes I really wish people could hear what I hear. I really do because it's so interesting. Most of them are so funny. They really are. Like, and some of
Wow.
them they have a warped sense of humor. They really do.
I can feel that from them, and
Yeah.
I love that you can pick that up. It just sounds like you have such a talented array of gifts, and I'm sure that so many people find your talents and your gifts very helpful. It must bring people a lot of peace. So that's what I feel might happen.
Yes, it does. A lot of times, there's sometimes people aren't like I'll go to a home where there's two people two people involved, and one person is very very open to it, and the other person isn't. Right? They don't
Mm.
believe in it. The other person does. So sometimes, if that's the case, I'll go into explaining how I know what I know because of animal behavior, what the signs are, what they're showing me with their bodies. Because different people are at different stages of their life where they're awakening, but they haven't fully yet. So that's always interesting. But it's really yeah, it really is kind of neat. Like just recently I had two cats, and one cat was always like getting picked on by the other one because the other cat was basically saying all kinds of nasty things to the younger one.
Oh my God.
And therefore, yes, and it was kind of funny. And because when I was there, the cat was basically saying all these nasty things like, you know, well, I can make sure you leave. I've been here first, and all kinds of things like that, instigating
Right.
situation where the other cat would get mad and start going, okay, well, stop that. Now I need you to stop talking to me like that and start fighting. So once we realized that what was going on, I spoke to the two cats and I said, that's not nice. You can't talk to people like that. You have to live. So I'm also a mediator sometimes with animals.
Wow.
That's how I sometimes get them to come together. And once the people know what's going on with situations, then I give them different avenues how to deal with it.
That's amazing. I mean, what you described there makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, yeah. You'd be surprised. Like you can't hear or see, but sometimes, like if a cat's walking by another cat or a dog's walking by another dog, and all of a sudden the dog goes oh and is scared and walks off, and the other dog sitting there going, I didn't do anything. Yeah, he did. He he threatened him, right? He threatened you walk by here and I'm going to pounce on you, right?
Right. And I bet you us humans not being able, the average person not being able to pick that up, won't think anything is wrong,
Yeah,
and maybe some will get away with it.
exactly. And then oh, it's his fault all the time, right? Well, no, because I can't walk by him or I can't eat my supper because he's saying it's my supper. I own all the suppers in the house. You get nothing, right?
Wow. Well, I love what you do. And I'm just curious, when did you first discover that you had this connection with animals or your abilities?
Well, basically, I was born like this. As soon as I could remember, like, yeah, back, I guess, as soon as I could talk and I could remember, I remember hearing animals. I'd be walking down the street. I had a dog. My first dog, I'd be talking to him. He'd be talking to me, telling me different things. And my first dog, he didn't like men. And I don't know how old I was, 4. And I asked him, I said, why don't you like men? Well, because where I came from, I was in a parade and they treated me very badly. So I was communicating with them ever since they could talk. And I thought everybody could.
Wow.
And yeah, and then I found out that not everybody could. And back in the 60s, I was telling my dad different things about, oh, blah, 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 he's saying this and whatever. And my father said, please don't tell anybody. You're not to
Oh my
tell
gosh.
anybody this because back in the city, back where I came from, Toronto, it was a well-known fact that if you were like this, you could be institutionalized. They would put you away. So
That's great.
basically, I never stopped doing what I did. I never stopped listening and talking to them, but I stopped telling everybody. I just told my dad and my family, and that worked out quite well. It really did. Um, maybe I can tell you another little instance. We had horses back then. And I was about 10, I think it was. Of course, I couldn't say nothing. The vet was there. All these people are there. And my horse was saying, Kim, I got a problem. I'm going to colic tonight. And I'm like, oh, great. How do I tell people? How do I get help for my horse? I can't tell anybody that my horse is going to colic and he could possibly die, right? So anyway, I told my dad. He understood, what was going on. And then I asked my horse, Pepper, I said, how can we get you help before you go into this? And my horse, not telling a word of a lie, he said, tell the vet, phone the vet now and tell him I've gotten into a feed bag of oats, which I shouldn't have, and I ripped it open, I ate them all. And he said, that will get the vet knowing that I have a problem coming. And my dad did. He phoned the vet and said, Pepper got into a big bag of oats. I don't think he's feeling very well. Can you come as soon as possible? And vet came, I think, within the hour. And by the time the vet came, the horse had started going into a colic and he was able to save the horse. And the vet said, it's very strange because usually usually horses don't eat a whole bag of oats. So he was wondering how we knew he was going into a colic. And my dad just said, well, that's the only thing I can put it down to is because he got
Oh
into
my
oats.
God.
But he would cover for me kind of, and
Yeah, that sounds like the most magnificent story. I just got shivers all over when you said that. It's really great that your dad had your back for that.
oh yeah. Yeah, he never understood, but he learned very soon. He didn't listen to me a couple times because he said, okay, come on, really? But he learned very soon to listen to me because it wasn't me. It was coming from them.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's just amazing. And I can see how it can help so many people. In your
Oh, yeah.
experience, and it may be hard to explain because from my understanding, people with clairaudience gifts or clairvoyance or any kind of clair really,
Right.
they can even have different experiences between them, right? So for
Right.
you, do you experience the communication with pets and animals telepathically? Or what does that feel like to you?
I think it's beyond telepathically, actually. I'd say yes, but then uh, it goes much, much deeper. Because ever since I was born, I can be walking anywhere with anything, any animal, and they're talking, telling me different things about their life, whatever. I'm like, yeah, that's nice, whatever. Um, I think sometimes I work with angels. I work with them because if I'm sometimes this happens a lot to me. If I'm at home, I'll get told by spirit or whatever, okay, in about half an hour, you got to go to town. I'm like, I don't have to get anything to town. You got to go to town. Okay, here I go. I do this all the time. I listen. Sure enough, and they'll tell me what road to take. I don't know. I think it might be the animal. It's probably the animal directing me or their guides. And I'll be usually I go this way. No, today you got to go that way. And okay, so I go that way. And sometimes there's animals that are on my way in that have needed assistance. And I'm there at that specific time that they need assistance. Like maybe it's there's been a couple of times there was this weird looking bird on the road. It was called a snipe, and it was walking, couldn't move. And so I stopped in the middle. I talked to them all the time, physically, verbally. I stopped in the middle of the road and I said, "Are you all right?" I said, "Are you having a stroke or something? Because you're moving very odd, right?" And they have a wicked sense of humor too. And this one snipe said, "I'm not having a stroke. I'm stuck. I can't move. Can you please move me off the side of the road before another car comes and squashes me?" So yeah, I mean that's a typical day for me, basically.
Wow. Having a sense of humor, I think, is really great because, especially when it comes to those kinds of situations, they're full of love and it makes us laugh and it may be lightening up a situation sometimes.
Yeah, it really is. I find they have a sense of humor. There's been so many times where I go for a walk in the forest in my woods, and I'll be called to go there. Just I'll be even called. Maybe there's a fox there or a coyote that would like to relay messages to me about different things. Possibly, can you maybe tell that farmer not to shoot at me tonight? I'm going to be crossing his field at a certain time. Like different stuff. Like yeah, it's just I never know. And
Oh,
I know the farmer, so sometimes I'll be and I have to make excuses because I can't say this coyote told me. So I might say things like you might not want to shoot tonight or whatever. But I don't know. I make up things as I go when I'm talking to people.
that's
I have to.
incredible. That's incredible. I guess you have to work with people's filters depending on,
Yes,
yeah,
I
you
work with their filters,
know. Mhm.
trying to um, you know convey my messages from the animals in the best way I can.
That's
Since I have
beautiful.
a voice now.
I think that's wisdom when you can see where the person's at, the human, dealing with these kinds of situations, and then being able to use your words in a way that they will understand so that the animal still gets helped, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah, and it's to me it's very important. It really is. Like and sometimes what I'll do is I'll go into an animal behavioral mode and they'll say, "Well, how do you know he needs help?" I go, "Well, because the horse's ears are back and his eyes are glaring, whatever." To me, I have that gift where I'm also an animal behaviorist. So I can use that.
that makes
And
sense. Yeah. That might make things easier, right?
yeah,
Sometimes. Hmm.
it makes people listen, you know.
Hmm. Well, it sounds like you already mentioned a couple of stories, which were beautiful about how you're communicating and how you're helping, but how do humans typically relate to you? Do you have a couple of stories, about how people have responded that stand out
Sure.
to you? Um,
Yeah, there's one actually a few years ago. Of course, people have gotten to know me. They, if they don't understand what I do, they just know that somehow I communicate with the animals, and somehow I'm able to help them all, the people and the animals. If they can't understand anything else, they just understand that I can help a situation. And one I think I'll never forget. It was a farm just near me. A man phoned and he said that llama is acting very weird the last couple of weeks. They've had the llama for maybe 10 years or so, and it guards these big different kind of sheep. I don't know what kind of sheep they are, but they're different. And he said he has a job and he protects them. And he said every night for the past 10 years, his job is to bring them into the barn at night. And he herds them and brings them into the barn and protects them from the coyotes. Well, he said about a week ago, he said Larry, his name was Larry, the llama. He said, I think it was very, very cold. It was like the weather was terrible. He said that night, he said he kept the sheep out all night. And I think for 2 nights, he would not let these sheep into the barn. And so he phoned me. He said, there's something wrong with Larry. He said, I might get rid of him and get another llama because he's not doing his job. I think there's something wrong with Larry. So sometimes I make house calls. Sometimes if it's too far, I don't. Well, I didn't make a house call that time, but I asked them for a picture. A lot of times I get pictures from people and I'll say, show me a picture. And then I said, okay. So we had a consultation that night. And it was very amazing because Larry was very emotional, the llama. And he said, my caregiver is going to be giving me away. And he said, he doesn't understand. He said, I have a problem. There's a problem going on here on my farm. He said, and I said, well, Larry, in between, like I'm talking to the man, and I talked to him first so I could relay. I said, why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you're protecting your sheep, but you're keeping them outside in the cold, in the snow? Why aren't you letting them go inside the barn? That's your job. And I said, if you don't stop this behavior, he's going to get another llama to do the job. And Larry was very, very like he was very emotional, like his heart was beating his chest. He said, please tell my caregiver. He said, there's something wrong in the barn. I can't let my flock go in the barn. He said, they will be hurt. And I said, well, I'm getting goosebumps even as I'm telling this again. I said, well, can you pinpoint it for me? Can you help me? I can't just say to your person, there's a problem in your barn, right? He said, okay. He said, over near one of the stalls, he said, near the end where the sheep go, where the young babies go. He said, the last couple of days, they go by the sun, the moon. He said, the last couple of days, night sleeps, he said, by the light, I hear a flickering behind the wall, the door, the wood paneling. He said, there's a flickering going on behind the wood. And he said, I feel it in my body and it's going like that and it's getting worse, it's getting bigger. So I said, okay. So I told the man about this sensation near where he was saying about the light and whatever. And it was feeling bigger. The sheep didn't feel it, but he did. So I said, can you please check that out before you get rid of Larry? I said, don't get rid of Larry. So I said, please check out. So he did. And I said, the llama was able to actually something about, he was showing me wires. The llama showed me wires and the wires going like that, right? And I told the man, I said, something about wires are going like that, right? And they're sparking. I said, you might need an election, right? Maybe. So he did. He called. I said, you might need it fast, right? I said, let's deal with this pretty quick because Larry's very upset. So he got an electrician in that day or that night. The electrician came in, and apparently there was a short in the two wires that had connected the lights that warmed the babies. And if he had waited any longer, even another day, that barn would have burnt down. And Larry,
Oh my goodness.
yeah, I just got chills again. Larry basically knew, but he didn't know how to tell him. But he thought that by keeping the ewes out in the snow, like, and what he did was he rounded them up in a circle and he kept them like tight in a circle to keep them warm at night and
Oh my
safe.
goodness.
Yeah. So to me, animals are heroes, you know.
Yes, they are.
I know like to me when they do weird behavior, there's usually always a reason why an animal has weird behavior. But
Yes.
Larry, he said that, and the man told me, he said, what he's doing is he's keeping them in a very, very tight circle, like really, really tight. And he's going all around them, like every hour on the hour, like to protect them from the
Oh my
wolves or
goodness.
wolves. He said, just tell him to bring him inside. So yeah, so he was protecting them from
Oh
possibly a
my
fire.
God. He should get a
And
Medal of Honor for that, I think.
oh, yeah, you know what? He went in the newspaper. Apparently, he took a picture of him. He told the story. He said, "Larry the llama, my hero."
Wow.
And Larry said, "I'm just doing my job." You know,
Oh,
so the animals are incredible. They really are. And
yes.
very, very most often when they have odd behaviors, there's reasons. There really
Yes.
is.
Well, thank gosh you were there, for that situation.
I mean, I firmly believe because a lot of the animals have told me that they are the ones that they're the ones that get their people to phone me. They
Yeah,
direct them.
that makes sense. Yeah, yeah. Well, speaking of more of your behavioral things that you had mentioned, sometimes you have to mention the animal's behavior to the human so that they can better relate or better understand, the message.
Right.
Um, how are our animal friends helped by your communications with them with their particular behavioral issues, whether that be physical, emotional, or otherwise? Is there maybe a story that stands out for you there or anything?
Usually when I'm working with physical, emotional behavior issues, like for the animals, a lot of times it's very genetic, very generic. Sometimes they have food issues. Why isn't my cat eating? Um, why is my cat eating grass? That kind of thing. Like I
Yeah.
do a lot of most pets as well. Um, but then on the other spectrum, sometimes I have been to zoos, and of course I just don't go in there saying, "Hi, I'm so and so, blah blah blah," and you're having a problem with that guy, But I
Yeah.
can't stop it. When the Bowmanville Zoo was open here in Ontario, they were having trouble with an elephant that was constantly going like that on its butt, and apparently it had an infection. So I
Oh,
kind of went up to the person and I said, "That elephant over there is." I said, "I don't know much about elephants, but I do."
right.
Yeah, no, I said, "He's going on a rock all the time, with his butt." I said, I think he could be itchy. Could you please check him out?" Right? Or her, it was a her.
Wow. Yeah.
And they're looking at me. I said, please just check her out. I think it's having a problem. Right. So, and they did. And apparently I went back about a week ago and the week later, and it had some kind of infection.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
yeah. So I always, um, when I notice things that I know aren't going to be accepted by certain people, I'll call attention to what their certain behavior is.
Yes.
And that way they know the behavior is going on, that they can address that behavior.
I love that example because it goes with some of the stories you mentioned earlier. So I think that paints a really clear picture as to how we can listen to animals better. So how are they communicating with us all the time when we don't have your gifts and your abilities, or how can we listen to them better?
Well, they're communicating all the time. A lot of them is very, very, like, to me, simple. I've been seeing a lot of YouTube things actually lately, and I guess places where they've had wildfires, extreme heat. There'll be squirrels coming out of nowhere or monkeys. They're going up to people, and they're actually physically going up to people with their little arms, going like this, right? And people, "Oh, aren't they cute?" Blah blah blah. No, they're not being cute. They're asking for help.
They're asking for help.
Yes, because like and I know more and more people, thank goodness, are noticing this. Like squirrels and monkeys, somewhere over in a really real hot climate. It was so hot, and the koala bears, they were coming down, walking amongst the people, and they're grabbing the people, and the people are going, "Oh, you don't grab me! what do you want? How can I help you? I don't understand how I can help you. And they're grabbing people and they're pulling them. They're
Wow.
trying to pull them to get attention. So I think what we can do, what people can do, is look at the situation. Okay, is it warm? Is it really, really hot? Like in one situation, is it really, really hot? Is there water available for these poor souls? They're grabbing me. Normally, animals won't grab anybody unless they have a problem, and they need to pull you to the problem. And perhaps do they need water? I've seen people get out their what do you call it, their water bottles and pour a little bit of drink for the squirrels, and they're just drinking it down, like because they've been asking for help. I say a lot of that is look in the environment, what's going on. Are they trying to animals that normally wouldn't come up to you? Are there animals normally coming up to you that wouldn't? And are they trying to turn around and look and bring you to where they are? If you're not in any danger, and if you possibly can, try and go and see what the problem is. Sometimes there's a mama deer that wouldn't approach people, never. And they approach people and they come up to you and they're going towards, and to follow them. Try and, if you can, if you're safe, follow them within reason and see maybe there's a little baby deer fawn that has fallen down and can't get out. But I have noticed there's a change. A lot of wild animals and animals are asking for help lately, different situations, and for them to put their lives in jeopardy, like a bear. Somebody was walking somewhere on a path, and the bear tried to get the biker's attention. Like he roared at him, and the biker turned and he started running, but the bear just stood there, was going like that. And then the bear turned around a few times, and sure enough, the person followed. I'm talking a very distance, and the bear's cub had fallen in the lake. So I have noticed lately the animals are conveying to me that they are feeling a little bit more comfortable with people, trying to ask for help. And for people possibly just to judge the situation, see what the animal is doing. If an animal that usually doesn't come up to you comes up, and usually they'll turn around and keep looking back to make sure you're there, coming. And that's one thing that I'm getting a lot of lately with the animals. And they know that people have awakened to such a, most people have awakened to such a degree. A lot of people, they know things. But when people start hearing things, push your logic back so you're not always just getting logic. Because once you start bringing in your logic, it pushes the communication away and it helps the animal come through.
I'm so glad that you said that about the logic, because my next side offshoot question was going to be, how can we follow more of our intuition to better connect in these situations? So you and I have this thing going on right now because you already
Yeah.
answered.
No, I know. I kind of picked that up. It's funny. I do have a lot of people, my clients, will be saying, oh, I can't communicate with animals. I don't know what my pet is saying. Well, yeah, you can. You do, because different things that people are doing shows that you can communicate. Like perhaps a dog that doesn't usually eat at 4 o'clock, maybe at 2 o'clock, he's looking at you going, and he's looking at his bowl, right? And you're logicking, and some people logic. It's not 5 o'clock. It's not 4 o'clock. You're not hungry yet. You can't be hungry. You're not getting the food, right? You pushed it aside, right? Yeah. So I always, to me, yeah, once logic starts coming in, the animals are communicating to us more than they ever have in the past, because people are more open to it than they ever used to be now. Our vibrations have gotten to the point. So to me, I always try and tell people, push your logic aside, because once you do, then the communication can come in.
Yeah, listen to your heart. That first thing that comes to you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. And when we listen to our hearts, or even if we don't have the clairs, which I call.
I like that, the clairs.
Clairs. Clairaudience,
Right.
clairvoyance, clairsentience. Even if we don't have that, we can connect with our hearts and we can follow our inner knowing no matter who we are. We don't have to have these certain gifts or abilities, right? And it's important.
And you can develop them too. The one thing that just popped into my mind, my cat just popped into my mind. I have a little cat. She's 14, and I have a big cat. He's like a dog cat, and my little cat's like a cat. And this is one thing that people can look for. Sometimes people say, whenever my one cat's in the room, my other cat won't eat. It'll leave. Why? What's wrong with the food? Right? It's not food. Like I said, this goes on in my house all the time. And I'll put the food bowl down like 10 feet away. This is for you. This is for you. And my one little cat, she'll sit there and she'll turn her head and look at my big cat, the male, and she'll say, no, not until I'm finished eating mine. And then I might choose to eat some of yours. You wait until I'm finished. Right. But the body language, the body language that you see is my little tiny cat and is sitting there, and her head is turned over to him, and her eyes are glaring. Like
That's
her eyes
funny.
are squinted. Right? They got a squint on, right? And he's sitting there like, right, and he's waiting. And you see this going, you gotta be kidding me. Yeah, so there's also there's different signs that they show. When you see one of your pets sitting there and like squinting, they'll physically squint their eyes, right? Their ears will go back and they'll be looking at the other one, going, oh, don't you touch that, right?
There's power dynamics that are going on.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah, there's like I've had big dogs that rescue dogs that would not walk by my one cat. And I'd say, well, what's wrong with you? She's not going to hurt you. But that one, my little cat, she'd be sitting there, and then she'd be just saying, with her arms crossed, don't even think about it.
won't even try.
No, this is my room, right?
I love that. Yeah, you can feel it. You can
Yes,
feel
you
it.
can feel it. And for people that can actually feel it and sense it, like to me, if you could, to me, I always say, talk to your pet, talk to your animal. Where if you notice something like that going on, you could say to them, don't be like that. It's like children, right? Don't act like that. Don't be like that. That's not nice. I know what you're doing, right? When you
Yeah.
call them out, when you call them out like
No.
children, they back off. They do. But they have to be called out.
Yeah. And it's compassionate because then they know you're listening to them and you can just tell them maybe a different thing to do that's a little nicer.
Exactly. I'll say, you don't have to be like that. You don't have to be mean or whatever. Like, but I talk to my animals all the time. I talk to animals in nature all the time. And like, they like that. They like being recognized. And when you talk to them like as an equal, because they're sentient beings, right? When you talk to them like an equal that they are, it's almost like, oh, okay, there's an understanding. And then they are able more to work with us, when we talk
They
with them.
Yeah, and it feels like to me what you're saying as well, which is what I believe, they can understand us, but maybe we haven't been able to always understand them. So we as a collective probably had to shift in order to reach what they're doing or reach what they're saying. Do you think that's right?
Exactly. To me, even now, I get people that say, and they tell me, they'll phone and say, my dog only understands words like car, phone, walk, bath. You have no idea. They understand everything that we're saying. Like when you're saying you want to go for a walk, they're looking at you going, really? Can you be more specific? Like, where am I going? How long will I be? Am I going to meet little Jube there? They want conversations. Because, and some animals have told me that they're higher vibration than us. And I believe it.
Me too.
It's like, yeah,
Very
I
much.
really, I think that we are not as high as they are. And to me, like, have conversations with your pet, whatever it is, like a rabbit, a snake, whatever. And like, you'll be blown away by what they can do if you say to them, if you don't even point, if you say to your golden retriever, hey, Fred, can you go over there and get me that red backpack? You'd be surprised how many would, because
Yeah.
they know.
Mhm.
It's just they're so highly intelligent. They really are.
Absolutely.
Mm.
And we kind of talked about your day in the life with a few of the stories that you'd mentioned, but is there anything else that's coming to you in terms of your day in the life? Like, do you walk down the sidewalk and, you hear somebody's dog talking to you as they're walking with the dog? You mentioned a little bit of that, but is there anything else that stands out to you in your day in the life?
A lot of times, actually, yeah, like I'm psychically inclined with people, but I can shut that off. But with animals, I can't shut it off. So I have to laugh because a lot of times wherever I'm going, like say my neighbors, a lot of times since the animals know that nobody else can hear them, they'll be telling stories about what goes on in their house, right? And how the dog came over to visit. They'll be, it's like an animated cartoon sometimes. Well, I can tell you because you'll tell nobody because nobody believe you came. You know what happened in my house last night? Guess, right? I'm going, oh boy.
Wow, I can imagine.
Yeah, and then like sometimes if I'm over visiting like a friend or an acquaintance, and maybe the acquaintance doesn't know I have this gift, right? And the dog will come over and I'll be like, oh, really? Yeah, that's kind of funny, right? And they're telling me who came over last night, how long they stayed, whatever, and what they had to say about that person. And I'm trying my best to go, yeah, can you please cut this right now and move along, right? Yeah, or if I'm going over to a friend's house,
Yes.
um, it's really funny the things that they tell you that they like to snitch on their people.
Oh,
You
that's
know,
funny.
yeah. You stayed out late last night. You got grounded, man. I never. I'm going. "Ah, I didn't. You know,
That's
didn't need to know."
incredible.
Yeah,
What do you
and a
do
lot of
with all these stories? Do you feel the urge to write them down aside from what's in your book already? Or
yeah, I have. I'm starting writing more. Maybe a different kind of book. Uh, I'm going off on a different spin. I'm trying to get down because there's so much coming to me. It just if people only knew what the things they're telling they're telling people like me that's going on in their house at night. It's hilarious, and it just hilarious. So I think I might write a different type of book
yeah,
because it's yeah, like sometimes I'm sitting outside with a friend and the only people I usually hang around with are people that understand me because otherwise it's too hard,
of
right? Because I'm sitting
course.
because
Of course.
it's hard for me to keep a straight face because I'm very humorous. But like if I'm sitting there, like I've learned, okay, so I usually sit outside, or if I'm somewhere and a hummingbird comes by, it'll zoom my head, it'll click in front of my head. And before I was sitting with somebody outside and they said, what's that hummingbird clipping in front of your head for? I said, oh, I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe just like me, right? But I'm in my mind, I'm thinking, will you please leave me alone? I'll deal with your problem in a minute, but I can't deal with it right now because I'm sitting with this person. I can't tell them what you're telling me. So now, normally, like minded people, if I'm sitting outside, usually sometimes a hummingbird does come over to me and is quite close to me, swinging in front of my face. And he is telling me, in no uncertain terms, very politely, that maybe his water is not as fresh as it was, and I should clean it more often. And the swarms of hornets are bothering him, so maybe I could do something about that. No
Oh,
rush, but when you're finished having your barbecue or whatever, but if you don't do it sooner rather than later, I will come back and get closer to your face and possibly land on your nose.
oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
so magical.
so sometimes I'll have to, whatever I'm doing like that, I might have to say, Excuse me, I have to go in the house for a minute. Get some fresh hummingbird food, water. Oh, they're talking to you again. Or what are they complaining about this time, Kim? Right?
I love that. I love how you navigate that. It's beautiful. I mean, you've had a lot of practice having to do that, and I just think it's graceful the way you're describing it. So,
If I can't, I just make excuses, do other different things, and then I come back to what I'm doing without saying anything.
I mean, that's very compassionate. It's very compassionate. It's a way to navigate, right?
That's my life, is navigation. I navigate everything.
Yeah. And what would you say to kids who have a very strong connection with animals?
Well, I guess maybe in two different situations. If there's kids that have a very strong connection with animals, but they can't talk to anybody about it, and they are getting messages and whatever, like I do. I have known some children that are very close, and they get messages and they talk, but they can't tell anybody. So perhaps with that, I have told children in the past, always know that what you're receiving, what you're getting from the animal is high importance, and never, to me, there's a fine line I got to watch. If you're not allowed to talk to anybody, that's fine, but just always know in your heart that that animal, it is, what is the word? It's they really need you, and they really appreciate being able to be as close to the animals as you possibly can, and to communicate in your own little way. And if there is any of your friends that are like-minded, like, tell them. But if you can't, then don't. But don't stop what you're doing. To me, I guess my message would be, if you can, never stop what you're doing, because they the animals need children, they need people like us, they need us more now than ever so before. And I see so many little children now, like being able to walk up to like horses that they've never met before, and they're maybe 2 years old, a little baby, and the big horse will come over, and they're right in there, and they're hugging each other, right? To me, never give up on that, and don't ever let that go. Like, expand on that. And if you can, in your mind and verbally, if someone is around and you can't talk verbally, then in your mind, I tell the children, talk to the animals, they'll talk to you back. Because I think we reach a certain age that sometimes with people, we can't hear them anymore. But up until, yeah, like, but most people, like the little ones, little children, they talk to them all the time.
Right.
I just tell them, don't ever stop, because you're the future generation. You're the way it's going. This is the way it's going to be. And to me, I think they're going to be, leading us. What?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And
Yeah, I think, like a nutshell, it's, we used to always be able to do this, and we're going back to what we used to be able to do. And I think basically, especially the children that can, they're going to be instrumental in leading us.
I
Full
would,
circle coming around again.
yes, I would fully fundamentally agree that we all used to be able to do this with more ease and more grace. And yeah, I really, really hear you with that.
We used to be able to. We will again.
Wow. And what would you say?
Again.
Yeah, and what would you say on that note to the parents who possibly can encourage their kids more? Anything coming for that?
Yeah, a couple of my clients, they've actually said to me, what do you think about this? My son or daughter came up and they said that the rabbit was saying this to them, and I'm going, well, listen, because it's happening, it's true. Like,
Yes,
and I know there's a divide, but if your children are coming up and saying that, they're getting it from somewhere.
that's right.
It's not that they're just, children can't young children can't make up stuff like that and lie about certain things like that. So if they are coming up with certain things, listen to them. There's a possibility that we as adults and parents can learn from them because they are much closer to the animals than perhaps we are. Not myself, because that's a different story. Uh, but like
Yes.
so, yeah, exactly. Like just let them. To me, let them be children. Let them be. Let them. Let them have dreams and wishes and be able to commune with the pets and the animals, because I'll bet most of them are, from what I've been seeing, most of them are, and the parents, we can learn a lot from them if we only just open up our hearts and let them interact and just stand back and watch the interactions. It's magic. It's just magical. Like, to me, if you've ever seen like a little 2-year-old child going up to like a horse or whatever, just hugging it, and the horse comes out of nowhere on the field, and they're hugging each other, the big head and the hug, just embrace it. That's what I tell them. Embrace it.
That's
And the
gorgeous.
sooner they do that, I believe the sooner we will get back to what we used to be like with the Native Americans communing with all the animals. I
Make
believe
this
that.
world more harmonized and more balanced. It's really important.
I
Yeah,
believe it. I really do. I feel it.
me too.
And the animals have faith in us. We can do it.
Good. Oh, that's beautiful and that's gorgeous. Thank you so much. I feel like you're so many animals advocate. And also in the Sedona Journal of Emergence, you have columns there that address what people are going through with their pets. So that's really incredible as well. So if anybody wants to read your monthly column, they can also pick up the
Yes.
Sedona Journal as well. So that's great. Before we go, I have to ask, is there a number one message or anything that you feel is coming through for you right now for us that the animal kingdom wants us to know, or anybody from there? Thank you.
Oh, yes. Yes, but the journal. That's why, before I get into that, with the journal, I'm so happy because people write into me or they phone me or contact me. What is my animal saying? Whatever. I'm so honored to have this channeling medium, to write for people saying, okay, this is what they're saying, this is what they're doing, and thank you very much for what you're doing for me or whatever. It's I can reach people that are we call it like shut-ins or whatever. The animals, actually, not me. The animals are so um, they're so ecstatic to have the voice to tell people. Like, it's the Sedona is it's a fantastic medium. I guess a medium thing. Sometimes I'm lost for words because they go in a different realm. Um, they're just so thankful for that, because then they can say what they want to say and ask for help the way they want to help and thank people the way they want to thank people. So yeah, they are so grateful for that. It is immeasurable, and just crowded around me again. There's so many of them. The animals are here with me, and they're saying thank you, thank you. So this is actually their message from the animal kingdom, actually, from all the animal kingdom, mammals, ocean mammals, everything. Okay. They want you to know that in this epic time of expansion for Mother Earth and all humanity, it is of paramount importance to understand what us, the animal kingdom, as well as the elemental kingdom, all the kingdoms, are trying to tell us. We can do this by opening our hearts and listening to what they have to tell us. Us and the we. Anyway, they want us to love your animal companions and treat them as yourselves, as you would want to be treated, with respect, love, and kindness. Animals help us in immeasurable ways. They help us raise our life force energy. They protect us. They assist us with their unconditional love, protection, guidance, and moving into the new world. The importance of animals in our lives is all encompassing. They can't, they're just, now they're getting, what do you call it? Emotional. They help us to learn by assisting and teaching us if we'll only listen with our hearts, open our hearts. They balance and heal us. They love and protect us. They provide companionship and unconditional love. And they are a critical, emotional. They get emotional sometimes. They're very emotional beings. They are a critical part of our lives and a critical element of nature. And even when they're channeling, I said, sometimes they get so emotional that they can't talk. We're going to be more connected with animals and mammals, everything in the world as a whole circle of the elemental kingdom. Everything that we are connected to, like the trees, the earth, the water, the plants, everything. They feel that we're going back to a time where the collective masses, we're going back to the time that the collective masses are awakening to the interconnectedness with the kingdoms as we once were a long, long time ago. So we shall return back to those days where we were connected once more. It might be a little bit a little bit construed there because they get so emotional. We are all an integral part of each other in the circle of life, as we are very important to each other. We are not separate. We are all one. They have a lot to teach us and a lot to tell us. We need to open up our hearts and minds and listen to what they have to say. Many people and the masses are awakening to their gifts of communicating with animals, and it will be more and more prevalent as time goes on. And this is a good thing. They're so happy. They will be able to communicate with their animal companions or pets, knowing what their needs and wants are, and thus making life a lot easier for animals and for people as one. As we were in the beginning, we shall be again. That's what they're saying.
Wow. I just got shivers when you said that. Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
They have almost like tears in their eyes. They're so emotional, and they're just thanking for this platform with you today, for being heard and to be felt, and just to just let people know that they love us so much. All of them, everything, the whales, everything. They love us so much, and they are glad that, see, here I go again, they're there, and they're glad that we are sharing their planet, Mother Earth, with them. That's what they said.
Wow.
They are glad that we are sharing their planet with.
Thank you right back. Thank you right back. I hope that they can feel my heart and the hearts of those watching and listening as well. I mean, it's going to open up the minds for a lot of people too to hear this. So I just
hope so.
Yeah.
One more thing. See, I told you I might get interrupted.
Oh, you're good.
Someone was saying, please keep in mind that we are all sentient beings. We have the same emotions as people. Everything. Joy, laughter, crying, sadness, guilt. We have guilt. We have forgiveness. But that's very important to remember that they do have all the all-encompassing, like I'm just channeling here, all-encompassing emotions and feelings that people have, all the sentient beings in the world, even the trees and the plants, everything has emotions. Everything is interconnected. The trees talk to each other. The trees help us. The trees talk through, they're showing me interconnected root systems, leaves, they send off signals. they're just so glad that we are starting on our journey back to what we were before, many, many eons ago. And they welcome us with open arms as we once were brothers and sisters
Wow.
eons ago. But please, that was their last little thing there. The one little thing they wanted to, the last little thing, if you could remember, was please remember we are sentient beings just like yourselves, only we don't have a physical voice that you do. That's the only thing.
Again, thank you so much, everybody. This is Kim Malonie, animal whisperer and fourth generation psychic medium. Please contact her for any of your needs with communicating with animals, especially, but she also connects with people to do readings. So if you go to kimmaloney.com, we're going to post the link with this video. Just wonderful, wonderful time talking with you today. So I appreciate it.
I feel like hugging you. Thank you very much. Big hug, big hug.
Big hugs right back.
And thank you for everybody for listening and for listening to them. And now they can all take a deep breath and relax.